Welcome back to the Film and TV channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. We have a Channel 5 drama to have a quick look at today, a 4-episodic thing that aired as I'm recording this a few days ago. It took me a little bit of time to catch up with this one. And the full series is now on my 5. Although if it's anything like my 5, I just it's absolutely nightmare to play back stuff. I have to keep going back to screens and finding the episode, fast forwarding. Might only be my talk connection. I'm not too sure, but it's playing up. Let me know if your my 5's a bit awkward as well, guys, or is it just mine? Anyway, I got through it. It took a little bit longer than it should have done, which didn't help overall. So I'm going to have a look at The Holiday today. Yes, with that Jill Halfpenny stars in this. I do like a bit of Jill Halfpenny. So The Holiday, please, if you are new to the channel, push that subscribe button. I try and inform and entertain if I can, and give reviews and my own personal views and other people's views as well. So you get a rounded look at films and TV dramas. Of course, I do information blogs on what's out to buy, what's on at the cinema, stuff like that. So please tell your friends if you enjoy it. Please give us that little thumbs up and try and get between 10 and 20 for these film and TV vlogs. If you can do that, you make an old man very, very happy. Yes, we're going to have a look at The Holiday. 4 episodes. It aired on the 1st to the 4th of March 2022, and as I said, you can watch it all back on my 5 if yours is working better than mine is. It stars a number of familiar faces to the here in the UK. Jill Halfpenny is the main character, of course. Owen McDonald, Cat Simmons, and Siobhan Hewlett. And it's an adaptation of a book, T.M. Logan's best-selling thriller. I believe a lot of people recommended reading the book rather than watch this, which is fair enough. I might seek out T.M. Logan and see if books are any better than this, perhaps has been adapted. Follows 4 best friends who travel to a luxurious villa in the south of France with families in tow as well, unfortunately for them. But on their day of arrival, one of them discovers their husband is having an affair. Yeah, not great. You're leaving your phone around, mate. You don't know the basics, do you, unfortunately? She points the finger at her 3 friends in turn. Yes, why not? Got to wheedle out who it could be. And the dream holiday becomes a life and death nightmare, as you'd expect. All in the space of 4 episodes times about 44 minutes. All these little comments that I've got from people, the public, and my own, as at the 12th of March 2022, 10 p.m. UK time. So just after I'd finished watching it, basically, I ploughed through what we were looking at. Not great on Internet Movie Database. That's where we look for the public scores. It's only getting a 4.6 out of 10 as at this stage. Will that increase or decrease? Possibly not much, in all fairness. That's based on just under 400 scores and reviews left, 399. There was 116 people who were. There was a few 10s, which is rubbish, and a few 1s, which is probably almost as rubbish. I'm more accepting for a 1 out of 10 than I am a 10 out of 10, but I discount them both, obviously, for this little vlog. 116 people scored it between 6 and 9. That's okay. But 194, so almost double, scored it between 2 and 5. So not very well liked. And some of the comments, these are just some of the headline comments from people on Internet Movie Database, just a summary. These are some of the negatives. I've included more negative because there is more negative, so I've done a fair balance. Slow, tedious, horrible people. Yeah, I won't disagree. Very annoying and dragged out. Yeah, again, can't quibble with that. Don't watch this rubbish, says someone else. Well, I did. Will you be able to watch it as well? Well, let's see when I get to my little views. Read the book instead. That's absolutely fair point. Long and weary road. It certainly perhaps was. Tripe, said someone quite simply. But not everyone was as angry and disappointed with it. I know that some positives, really not that bad. Well, that's a positive, isn't it? I say I'm more perhaps in that line as well. Realistic, mature, and sympathetic. Hey, you got that's high praise. Could have been better. Again, it's praise, I suppose, in a way. I liked it, said someone else. And finally, enjoyed it. Good acting, good plot with smart twists, yet easy to follow. Yeah, I don't discount that. Sometimes thrillers can be a little bit too complicated, aren't they? But you need a little bit out of a thriller or a crime thriller or a drama thriller, whichever you would call this. So my thoughts on this one, guys. Yeah, it does. It opens very, very well actually, and we do get little snippets of this when we have a recap at the start of episodes. But it opens with a fire, a fire seemingly in a forest. It's not much of a forest as it turns out, but so it's quite exciting with all hell breaking loose. People look as though they're ready to die and get burnt alive, etc. So yeah, and then it flashes back to the start of the holiday. So start of this holiday. So it does start very, very well for me, and it certainly piques your interest. Unfortunately, it's fairly downhill from then on. And perhaps this was a mistake. Perhaps it should have just left it as a slow burn and not give us too much away to begin with. Because sadly, most of the episodes lacks a little bit of that excitement. There's a little bit, say, when we did get to the fire stage and the aftermath, of course, later episodes, but. Yeah, it doesn't quite reach that level throughout, so it's probably the bad place to start. It's like a film starting with a superb opening and then just wheedling out, which some do. So it was that sort of problem. Okay, it is more of a drama as it goes through, as a wife tries to obviously isolate who of her friends is sleeping with her hubby, which they're all there. Obviously, little messages are being sent on phones and little dark spots and little rooms where people are meeting up. So she's got plenty to go at, in all fairness. And as you'd expect, there are plenty of little subplots involving the dysfunctional families, of course, teenage kids, young kids. They've all got their own problems, and bringing them to this villa. You can imagine some teenagers cannot sometimes be a bit awkward, can't they? So add that to the mix of friends sleeping with other friends' wives, and you have a bit of a mishmash of dysfunction and little subplots. The thing is, if I'd invested perhaps in any other characters apart from Jill Halfpenny's, I might have cared, but I didn't. I didn't particularly. So that was the problem with this. You've got to invest in characters. I mean, you've got to like them. And as I said, Jill Halfpenny, probably liked her because I like her as an actress and I liked her character. And yes, she's the one that looks as though she's been dumped on. So I think that it was quite easy to invest in her. But most of the other characters, very, very unlikable, as I think one of the critics said before, or one of the public said on Internet Movie Database. I didn't particularly want to harm any of them, but I couldn't particularly care less if harm did come to most of them. But thankfully, Jill's character kept me watching at least through episodes 1 and 2 and most of 3. And then by episode 3, we're still waiting for the sparks to fly, pardon the pun, to set this fire raging, aren't we? But Jill's character was the culprit in her sights, and obviously it all goes wrong as this fire breaks out, and we sort of. I mean, let's face it. When it gets to who she thinks it is, well, I'm not even going to say. I won't spoil it because at the end of the day, it might be, it might not be. It gets to this point where we sort of switched off a little bit, and we even had a bit of switchblade knife action where Jill licks out a switchblade, so you think, "Oh, this is going to get tasty." Then it all sort of end by the end of episode 3, the fire spark into life, but not much else is. Unfortunately, this is just 4 by 44 minutes. So as I said, it took me a bit longer to watch it because of the problems I had with my 5. So, although many comment that it is slow and boring, I would disagree slightly. I got a bit frustrated with my watch back, of course, but it could have been worse, and it could have been long and boring. So, some people said it was short and boring. It could have actually been long and boring. So that's a plus point. I take the plus points in that. It's one of the dramas that, despite many faults, I didn't want to see what would happen slowly as the holiday fell apart. Because I mean, all these people in the villa, I wasn't that bothered. I mean, we have smoke, we've got fires, and of course, as pardon the pun again, there's no smoke without fire, is there? But by episode 4. We know the consequences of the fire that comes into it, and we can only hope by a good climax. And obviously, if you look at the scores on Internet Movie Database, episode 1 got 4.6 out of 10, episode 2 got 4, episode 3 got 4, and episode 4 only got 3.1. So that didn't inspire me with confidence for the final episode. Was I happy with the ending? Not really. It was okay. It was perhaps the worst of the 4 episodes, possibly not. It was okay. It was just an okay episode, but as a conclusion, it did leave a lot to be desired, unfortunately. And as I said, there was twists in this, and it's not perhaps as obvious as you think because you're given certain information late on. I mean, it's not, how can you gauge anything unless you're given the information? But obviously, certain certain facets of information are all released later on in the episode, so you can't really make any judgments because you haven't been given the information. You can only go on what you've been given, of course. So my rating, not a disaster by any means. Yes, it was a little bit tired. It was a little bit boring in parts. Jill Halfpenny kept me watching. But I would say it was average. Okay story in bits. I mean, you probably had a good enough thing for, say, an hour and a half programme. Certainly not for 4x44 episodes. But once watched it, yes, it is instantly forgettable. It'll be something in 3 months' time, the holiday, I'll be trying to think back what happened to it. And you mentioned Jill Halfpenny in the fire, and I'll perhaps remember, but that's it. That's the only reason I'll remember it. It's certainly very forgettable. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10, which is just bang average. It's my minimum mark to give something a mark, and I think it deserves a mark, as I said, even if only I enjoyed watching Jill Halfpenny. And this is also out to buy, guys. So if you did like it, and some people do, as you can see from the critique, if you did like it, it's out to buy from the 14th of March. So should be able to buy as and when you're watching this, because this will be going out in and around that time. And it's on DVD at $12.99 with a 15 certificate. So if that's of interest to you, and why not? As I said, some people do like it. Most people don't. Let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. To me here again on the Film and TV channel, I only ask one thing, don't I? Watch where you're dropping those lighters and matches. That's for one thing. Although in this country it'd be far too wet for anything to catch fire. I only ask one thing, please. Stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.